Kate here from ChannelFrederator, and to commemorate the South Park 20th season finale, we're taking all of our South Park videos and packing them into one super long video. 107 fact videos, cartoon conspiracies, and so much more. This week on the channel, we're keeping the celebration going, and we'll have a new batch of 107 South Park facts, a new cartoon conspiracy all about PC Principle, and we're gonna cover some more evil things Cartman has done. For next week, we're currently thinking all about Star Wars Rebels, so are there any interesting facts that we should include in 107 facts about Star Wars Rebels? Let us know in the comments below. But now, let's jump into nearly an hour of South Park videos.
The kids in South Park are pretty terrible as a whole. They're all vulgar, mean, and selfish. But for all their faults, the kids have redeeming qualities. All of them, perhaps, except Eric Cartman. Cartman may very well be the meanest kid in all of cartoons. Scratch that, Eric Cartman might be the meanest person, kid or adult, in all of cartoons. Cartman has very few moments of humanity. Most of the time, he seems content to find the way to inflict the most harm possible in the least amount of time. And he doesn't settle for standard evil, like taking over the world or getting revenge. Cartman destroys people in very personal, intimate ways. To put it bluntly, Cartman does some effed up stuff. Some of the most effed up things in all of cartoon history. So let's celebrate the best of the worst. My name is Tim, and today on ChannelFrederator, we're counting down the top 9 effed up things Cartman has done. Let's get started. Number 9. Cartman helps the South to rise again. Cartman takes bets very seriously. Seriously enough to wage entire wars across the country. When he joins the Confederacy in a Civil War reenactment, he declares he can win the war. After the boys bet on it, he not only rewrites the outcome of the current battle, but convinces his Southern brethren to march all the way to Fort Sumter and beyond in a glorious campaign, filled with a lot of letters to the home front and all the s'more schnapps you can drink. That's why the whole town goes along with this, by the way. They're drunk on s'more schnapps. This is quite a way to start off a list like this, but with the exception of Kenny, nobody gets hurt. No lives are destroyed. Cartman wants to win a bet and enslave Kyle and Stan, but he's not invested in the South's victory beyond that. It's effed up, but comparatively speaking, it's pretty mild. For the record, he doesn't win the war either. Stan and Kyle outwit him by reenacting Lincoln and Jefferson Davis negotiating a surrender. Therefore, Cartman as Robert E. Lee has to stand down. Number 8. Destroying a television nanny. Cartman's mother has had enough of his shenanigans, and considering what her son is capable of, it's a miracle she lasted as long as she did. So she hires every nanny she can think of from television. Eric Cartman responds about as well as you'd expect, though it does present a fun look at the authority behind a timeout chair. It's startling how much kids will do because they're told they have to, even if there's nothing forcing them to obey. Like all television nannies, this one is hoping for an emotional conclusion. The cameras love a story about a kid's vulnerabilities and learning to communicate them. So when Cartman opens up about being scared about his life changing, she pounces. She answers all of his questions like a loving nanny, and he tricks her into talking about herself, until he finds the chink in the armor. She was never able to have kids or a relationship, and he twists that knife over and over until she breaks, storming out. There's a lot of sadistic characters in television. It's a trope at this point, but few have the calculating power of Eric Cartman. He finds and exploits every weakness until there's nothing left but a husk, and this is one of the more merciful ones on the list. Number 7. Entering the Special Olympics under false pretenses. Cartman is evil, but he's also an enterprising boy. When Jimmy and Timmy are entering the Special Olympics, Cartman learns the best athlete gets $1,000 cash. Set on winning it and thinking he can beat the average competitor, Cartman fakes a mental disability in order to enter and win prizes. It's a lot like the movie The Ringer, but with less reverence and more steroid abuse. Turns out, despite all his effort and research, Cartman is nowhere near capable enough to best the other athletes. He comes in dead last in every event. It's effed up, but seeing immediate comeuppance helps soften the blow here. Also, it's a bit overshadowed by Jimmy using steroids and beating up his girlfriend, which is also effed up. Number 6. Faking Tourette's to say what you want. Apparently, Cartman has a streak of faking disabilities. When Cartman meets a kid with Tourette's, he's confused and mean, and then after learning more, sees a golden opportunity. He decides to fake having Tourette's so that he's allowed to say whatever he wants to anybody. Cussing, insults, deep personal secrets he doesn't want anyone to know? Okay, the last one is more punishment than something he wanted. Somehow this seems worse than faking to get into the Special Olympics to me. The Special Olympics gambit requires at least some athletic effort and has a rational reward of $1,000. $100. This doesn't. Cartman just goes out of his way to curse and shout and be mean and a nuisance. Credit where it's due though, I laughed way too hard at his rendition of I Got a Golden Ticket. Number 5, The Christmas Critters Story. Cartman has an active and healthy imagination and comes up with an original Christmas story for the whole class to hear. It involves a bunch of cute animal critters asking for Stan's help in creating a manger for their savior. Stan obliges with all their requests, even killing a lion that had been harrying the poor creatures, only to learn that they worshipped Satan and were attempting to bring the Antichrist into the world. The story then goes off the rails and becomes a story about trying to administer an abortion to stop the Antichrist's birth. And then Kyle being possessed because he's Jewish. It's horrifying, anti-Semitic, and definitely effed up. I know Mr. Garrison didn't ever care about his job, but even still, I can't believe he lets the story continue for as long as he does. It's not surprising that Cartman would take a dig at Kyle, but this story just has so much horror baked into it. It's almost like watching a Disney movie and then learning about the much darker story it's based on. Number 4, Cartman ruins his future life out of spite. It turns out there's a whole business in faking future versions of kids to try and scare them into doing the right thing. At least that's what the parents of South Park think. It turns out the whole thing is a sham and the kids aren't as bad as their parents think they are. But the idea of future selves gets Cartman thinking about his own future. He realizes that maybe he should eat right and mellow out. At the moment he makes that decision, his own future self comes in to congratulate him. This future self, unlike the others, is successful, saying that Cartman becomes the CEO of a time travel company. To be fair, it's reasonable that Cartman would suspect this is a sham. The other future selves were. Cartman decides to spite this hopeful future by choosing to eat whatever junk foods and do drugs whenever he feels like. You see his successful future self transform into a miserable mechanic. Cartman doesn't just ruin other lives out of spite, he will ruin his own life out of spite. Number 3, using stem cells to create a pizza parlor. Cartman doesn't seem like the kind of person that would approve stem cell research to save a life. He doesn't care about the lives of others beyond what they can do for him. Why should he expend any effort to help anyone else that's sick? Why does he do it here? Well, he doesn't lobby for stem cell research to save a life, but rather clone a pizza parlor. The way he figures, if a stem cell can become anything, then enough should be able to take the shape and become a pizza place. It succeeds, or at least it nearly succeeds, in defiance of all science and reason, but the fact that Cartman can just smile and look over this horrible amalgamation of cells in roughly pizza shape is definitely effed up, no matter how you look at it. Number 2, Cartman responds to anger management. When Cartman misinterprets a height chart in the school hallway, his anger gets the best of him, leading to an unfortunate misunderstanding and public male anatomy chart. The principal thinks it would be best if Cartman got a few anger management sessions in, so that he can be calm and think through situations. Fair enough. So Cartman goes to anger management and seems pretty cool-headed. The counselor tries to pry rage out of him by insulting his size. If you've been paying attention, crossing Cartman in any way is a mistake. Or is it? Despite all the counselor's prodding, Cartman just sits there. He might be the most even-tempered kid ever. Look at him, he's just texting. Until, of course, the counselor gets a phone call. His wife is babbling about a police report and an underage girl and infidelity before killing herself. After this all goes down, Cartman puts down his phone and just says, "I'm not fat, I'm just big boned." It's utterly chilling. And finally, number 1, the Chili Con Carnival. We're not going to pretend this was anything other than number 1, the quintessential evil Cartman moment. When older kid Scott Tenorman tortures and bullies young Cartman, Cartman decides he has to counterprank Scott to alleviate his torment. At least that's the nice version of what happens. Cartman doesn't just solve the problem or get simple revenge. What he does is so much worse. He deliberately puts himself in a position where Scott thinks he can pull a big prank on Eric via chili cook-off. In reality, Cartman expected this prank and reveals his own. He murdered Scott's parents and cooked them into the chili. Scott eats his own parents. Eric uses all of his encounters with Scott to learn more about him and then annihilate him. That's why he keeps talking about training a horse to bite off Scott's wiener. It's so that Scott will try and get rid of the horse, which will in turn lead to his parents trespassing on the farm and getting shot. And that's not enough. While Scott's crying in horror, Cartman licks his tears and revels in the anguish. It is the gold standard of effed up things any character has ever done. Also, Cartman has Scott's favorite band Radiohead show up just in time to call him a crybaby.
Screw you guys, I'm going home.
Thanks for watching the top 9 effed up things Cartman has done. What do you think was the most effed up? Is there an effed up moment we missed? Let us know in the comments.
Over the years, Cartman, Kyle, Stan, and pretty much everyone in the city of South Park have witnessed their friend Kenny die, like, hundreds of times. Yet he always seems to return in the next episode with zero recognition of his gruesome death, only to die again merely minutes later. Most fans probably write this off as one of the show's longest running gags. But is it possible that there's an even bigger explanation to Kenny's frequent demise? Does time in South Park move incredibly slow because of Kenny's immortal abilities? There have been several theories attempting to explain the reason for Kenny's frequent deaths, as well as why, despite being on television for 17 years, the kids in South Park don't seem to age. But a theory found on Reddit offers this interesting explanation. Due to an encounter with Cthulhu, Kenny has immortal abilities, which warps reality every time he dies. Time is actually resetting around him and his surroundings, which also explains why no one in South Park can remember his many deaths. This is also why after 17 years, 3 presidential terms, 8 Christmas, 6 Halloween, and 7 Thanksgiving episodes, the residents of South Park have only aged 2 years. It's also why Kenny dies in practically every episode, only to return later. Now, some of you might be wondering exactly what Cthulhu is. Well, Cthulhu is an ancient deity created by writer H.P. Lovecraft in his 1928 short story, The Call of Cthulhu. Cthulhu is often described as having an immense power that manipulates the minds of human beings. Lovecraft introduces many other deities in his works, but Cthulhu is the most well-known and considered one of the great old ones. He's the top dog, or squid, dragon, demon type thing in the Eldritch mythos. In the season 14 episode Mysterion Rises, it's revealed that Kenny is a superhero Mysterion whose special power is the ability to never die. And in the following episode, Coon vs. Coon and Friends, we learn that Kenny's parents used to be members of the cult of Cthulhu. It is yet to really be revealed if Kenny was sacrificed to Cthulhu or exactly how he got this immortality. However, it is shown that his mom gives birth to a newborn Kenny every time he dies, and he quickly ages to his previous state in a matter of hours. Now, reality warping isn't a new thing to H.P. Lovecraft's Eldritch Abominations. Eldritch Abominations are a type of creature known for their complete disregard of the natural laws of the universe, such as space, time, physics, etc. Is it possible that Kenny is an Eldritch Abomination? And is he the reason the citizens of South Park simply reset every time he dies? On the surface, South Park might seem like the kind of show to throw continuity to the wind, much like its fellow adult animated shows, Family Guy. But any dedicated South Park fan will say otherwise, that Kenny's frequent deaths are no accident. Creators Matt Stone and Trey Parker have been alluding to Kenny's mysterious powers for quite some time. In their commentary for the episode Coon vs. Coon and Friends, Matt and Trey revealed that there is a quick shot at a spoiler that reveals Kenny's past, hinting that it is not spoken, it's sort of a hidden thing. So let's take a look at this quick shot of what appears to be the Necronomicon, which is a fictional grimoire appearing in H.P. Lovecraft's works. This page seems to be depicting otherworldly realms and some sort of ritual that involves a baby. In the episode, it is implied that Kenny was supposed to be sacrificed, but then his parents stopped attending the meetings. So while we don't know exactly if Kenny was sacrificed or not, his effect on time and reality in the city of South Park is very similar to that of H.P. Lovecraft's Eldritch Abominations. And unfortunately, this theory in its entirety has not been confirmed on the show yet. But thanks to Matt and Trey, we've got a pretty good feeling it's coming soon. So on the plausibility meter, I give the South Park conspiracy 4.5 mint berry crunches out of 5. Here's what you guys said about this episode. What about that super serious episode where Kenny died of a terminal illness and didn't come back for like a whole season? If he was immortal, why not just come back immediately? Good question. I don't have an answer for that. And since many of you in the comments are big South Park fans, why don't you come up with your own answer? A lot of you had this similar idea. This is a nice change of pace. A theory of why X character isn't dead. Well, technically this theory is why is X character always dead? But, you know, In the comments, let me know what you guys thought of this conspiracy and if you agree or disagree with how I rated it. If you have a suggestion for another conspiracy you'd like us to cover, let us know in the comments or send us an email.
South Park, one of the most popular cartoons ever created. So today here at ChannelFrederator, we're going to be listing 107 South Park facts that everybody should know.
Eric, did you just take a crap on my desk?
What's up? What's up? Crapped on your desk, Doug. What's up with that?
Number 1. The pilot episode of South Park, Cartman Gets an Anal Probe, was animated almost entirely using paper cutouts in stop motion. The series had not yet been picked up, so Trey Parker and Matt Stone did not have the budget to animate it digitally. It is the only episode in the series to not be animated using computers. Number 2. During development, the creators of South Park were brainstorming how to get away with creating a modern-day Archie, complete with misogynistic views and racism. So what did they do? They made him 8 years old and named him Cartman.
Screw you guys. I'm going home.
Number 3. It currently takes the team 6 days to complete an episode. Employees generally work 100 to 120 hours during that time. Number 4. South Park has only missed the deadline for an episode once, due to a blackout. Number 5. In the episode Kenny Dies, Kenny's cycle of being killed off every episode finally ends and he doesn't appear again until the final episode of the following season. Number 6. Originally, Kyle was the character up for the hatchet. He felt too similar to Stan and they wanted Butters to join the main cast as his replacement. Number 7. Comedy Central originally refused to air the episode. It hits the fan because of the amount of times the word shit was used. The creators came up with the idea to use the word shit so much in the episode that it becomes meaningless. Surprisingly, executives agree that the use of the word had become justified and allowed the episode to run.
It somehow loses its punch after multiple viewings.
Number 8. Butters' first name is Leopold. Creators were originally gonna name him Poof Poof, but decided otherwise. Number 9. When the episode Trapped in the Closet aired, the Church of Scientology was very offended and paid for an investigation of Trey Parker and Matt Stone. They tried to find incriminating facts on them, but, thanks Elron, they failed. Number 10. In January 1999, EA had to massively recall Tiger Woods' PGA Tour 99 after a worker snuck one of the original South Park shorts, Jesus vs. Santa, onto game discs. Number 11. The crew of The Simpsons enjoyed South Park's anti-Family Guy episode so much, they sent them flowers. Number 12. The South Park song, Chocolate Salty Balls, managed to reach number 1 on the UK singles chart. Number 13. George Clooney repeatedly asked to guest star on South Park. Eventually, the creators offered a part that would have him barking for Stan's gay dog, Sparky. He accepted. Good on you, George Clooney. Good on you. Number 14. Jay Leno provided meows for Cartman's cat.
No, kitty, this is my pot pad.
Number 15. Every episode to date has either featured or mentioned a celebrity. Number 16. Matt Stone and Trey Parker obtained a copy of the script for The Day After Tomorrow prior to its release. They planned on making a puppet film that would follow the script word for word to be released the same day as the film, but were dissuaded by their lawyer. Number 17. Kyle's hair is based off creator Matt Stone's self-proclaimed Jufro. Number 18. Co-creator Matt Stone is the voice of Kenny and muffles his voice by speaking into his hand or sleeve. Number 19. All of Kenny's lines are scripted, even if they're almost impossible to understand. Number 20. Besides being a co-creator, Trey Parker is also the voice of Cartman, who is also his favorite character.
Screw you guys, screw you guys, screw you guys.
Number 21. The majority of Cartman's lines are ad-libbed by Trey Parker.
I thought your family was rich. Nah, 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 blah, 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 blah.
Number 22. The criticism that South Park was nothing but bad animation and fart jokes led to the creation of Terrence and Phillip. Number 23. Mr. and Miss Garrison have first names. Mr. Garrison's first name is Herbert, and Miss Garrison's first name is Janet. Number 24. In the theme song of the first season, Kenny's muffled part is actually, I like girls with big vaginas, I like girls with big fat titties. It was never censored because it was already difficult to make out. Number 25. Every Halloween special, one character dressed up as Chewbacca. Number 26. The band Primus performs South Park's theme song.
I'm going down to South Park, gonna have myself a time.
Number 27. South Park holds the Guinness World Record for most swearing in an animated series. Number 28. Mr. Hanky's The Christmas Poo was created based on Trey Parker's childhood habit of forgetting to flush the toilet. Trey's father used to tell him that if he didn't flush, Mr. Hanky would come out and eat him. Number 29. Cartman's mother is named after an ex-girlfriend of Trey Parker's. He actually caught her cheating on him. Number 30. Chef is based off a real dining hall employee at the University of Colorado. The two creators met him while studying there. Number 31. All the names in Stan's family come from Trey Parker's family, while Kyle's families are from Matt Stone. Number 32. After the episode Le Petit Tourette aired, the Tourette Syndrome Association released a statement praising the show for being well-researched and for serving as a clever device to get accurate information to the public. Number 33. Kenny's character is based off a real-life childhood friend of Trey Parker's who was also named Kenny. Kenny was the poorest kid in town and always wore a large parka that made him hard to hear. He would frequently skip school, which caused other students to joke around that he died. Number 34. South Park's lawyers wouldn't allow Trey Parker to call Tom Cruise gay directly, so he put him in the closet instead.
I'm never coming out!
Number 35. Mr. Mackey is based off of Trey Parker's old school counselor, Mr. Lackey.
Okay.
Number 36. After Kanye West interrupted Taylor Swift at the 2009 MTV Music Awards,
I'm really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish.
Comedy Central played the South Park episode Fish Sticks on repeat for 2 hours. Number 37. A character named Alex who only appeared in one South Park episode called Red Man's Greed was voiced by Alex Glick. Alex earned the role by being the highest bidder at a charity auction to benefit AIDS research. Number 38. The Pokemon parody episode that appears in South Park, Chim Pokemon, is Japanese for penis monster. I've got to buy Chim Pokemon. I've got to buy it. I've got to buy it. And if you didn't know, Pokemon is Japanese for pocket monsters. Yeah, we see what you did there, guys. Number 39. The chairman of Scientology's niece first learned about the story of Xenu through South Park. She left Scientology shortly after. Number 40. In the credits of Trapped in the Closet, all the names in the credits read as John Smith and Jane Smith because of Tom Cruise and the Church of Scientology's reputation for frequently suing people. Number 41. The movie South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut was originally issued an NC-17 rating. Number 42. Casa Bonita, the Mexican restaurant that appears in South Park, is a real restaurant in Denver. Number 43. Frito-Lay sold 1.5 million bags of Cheesy Poofs at Walmart in collaboration with Comedy Central in 2011. Number 44. When Kenny dies and Stan or Kyle would yell out,
Oh my god, they killed Kenny! You bastard!
the word they was actually alluding to Stone and Parker. Number 45. Prior to season 8, Chef was never shown from any other perspective than a frontal view, even when exiting a scene. This is because for 7 years, creators never drew a side view for him. Number 46. Chef was written out of the show after Isaiah Hayes, the voice of Chef, requested to exit his contract prematurely. He was very unhappy with how the show portrayed his religion, Scientology. Number 47. Butters is based off of Eric Stowe, South Park's animation director.
Like, we're gonna put you in the show, Butters. Yeah,
He's like, well, you better not. I'll get awful mad.
he's here. He's sitting. He's here.
Number 48. Jerry Seinfeld was a fan of South Park, so his agent contacted the creators about a potential guest spot. He was offered the role of a background turkey in Starvin' Marvin. He refused the offer. Number 49. Professor Chaos, Butter's supervillain alter ego, is based on Marvel's Doctor Doom. Number 50. In Cartman's Mom is Still a Dirty Slut, it's revealed that Cartman's mother is a hermaphrodite. However, in 2001, this is shown to be a lie made up to protect the Denver Broncos.
The Broncos have never thanked us for our help. Go Broncos!
Number 51. In the show, it's easy to distinguish Canadians from Americans because Canadians have floppy heads with separable tops and bottoms paired with beady eyes. Number 52. Chef's full name is Jerome McElroy. Number 53. Lemmy Wink's journey through Mr. Slave's body in The Death Camp of Tolerance is meant to be a parody of The Hobbit. It turned out a lot of people didn't catch that.
Lemmy Winks, Lemmy Winks, Lemmy Winks, Lemmy Winks.
Number 53. 4 different versions of the song Stinky Britches are sung throughout the series by Cartman, Chef, Alanis Morissette, and Marilyn Manson. Number 55. Prior to the airing of Trapped in the Closet, Tom Cruise had wanted to voice a character on South Park. Yeah, that's a bit awkward. Number 56. South Park has been nominated for 13 Emmy Awards and has won 5. Number 57. South Park was the first weekly show ever to obtain a TVMA rating. Number 58. In the deleted ending of Fish Sticks, Kanye West drowns and the Coast Guard recovers his dead body. Number 59. Doug Herzog, a TV executive, credits South Park for having put Comedy Central on the map. Number 60. Sri Lanka banned South Park after the episode 200 depicted Buddha snorting cocaine with Jesus. Number 61. Kyle's birthday is May 26, while Stan's birthday is October 26. They share birthdays with the creators Matt Stone and Trey Parker. Number 62. Dr. Sophie Rushman of the University of Strasbourg discovered a mutated gene in fruit flies that caused them to die within 2 days after bacterial infection. She named it KEP1 after Kenny McCormick. Number 63. Outside the other inspirations for Cartman, he is also based off a high school classmate of Trey's. The two still remain close friends. Number 64. Cartman's middle name is Theodore. Ha! What a dork. Number 65. Scott Titterman Must Die was written by Matt and Trey to reveal that Eric Cartman is the most evil kid in the world.
Your kids are so yummy.
Number 66. Cartman has only been arrested 6 times, though he has committed murder, rape, arson, prostitution, and forced cannibalism, attempted genocide, manslaughter, animal abuse, hate crimes, grave robbery, war crimes, child abuse, vandalism, theft, piracy, embezzlement, shoplifting, terrorism, drug possession, smuggling, armed robbery, and more. He's a nice guy. Number 67. The KFC turned weed dispensary in Medical Fried Chicken is based on an actual weed dispensary in Los Angeles. After a Kentucky Fried Chicken went out of business, the store was bought and turned into Kind for Cures. Number 68. When he has writer's block, Trey Parker plays with Legos. Number 69. In 2007, South Park was included in Time's 100 Greatest Shows of All Time. Number 70. South Park has won a Peabody Award, praising it as one of TV's boldest, most politically incorrect satirical series. Number 71. When the production company logo appears at the end of each South Park episode, the music playing is from the song Shadoinkle. The song was originally used in Trey Parker's student film, Cannibal the Musical.
The sky is blue and all the leaves are green.
Number 72. In 1992, South Park's creators Trey Parker and Matt Stone collaborated on an animated short called The Spirit of Christmas, Jesus vs. Frosty. It was made entirely with construction paper and glue, and was one of the very first viral videos ever created. Number 73. Brian Greedon, a Fox executive, saw The Spirit of Christmas and paid Parker and Stone to create a similar animation that he could use as a Christmas card. They created Jesus vs. Santa. Comedy Central saw the video and gave the two a shot at their very own show, which would end up being our beloved South Park.
Go, Santa! Go, Jesus!
Number 74. Nancy Cartwright was invited to audition for the pilot of South Park. She walked out of the audition in disgust. Number 75. When Mr. Garrison is told by the school counselor that Mr. Hat is a manifestation of his gay side, Mr. Hat is replaced by Mr. Twig, a hand puppet with a pink triangular patch on his shirt. The same patch was used in Nazi concentration camps to identify homosexuals. Number 76. Mary Kay Bergman voiced most of the female characters in South Park until her death in 1999. Afterwards, the roles were taken on by Eliza Schneider. Number 77. The first season averaged about 250,000 per episode. This may sound expensive to you, but this was much less than the standard of 600,000 at the time. Number 78. When the show first began, the most expensive ad spot cost $7,500. Within months of its debut, they could demand over $30,000. Number 79. An episode that referenced Terry Schiavo aired only hours before her death. Number 80. The episode About Last Night aired less than a day after Obama's victory speech and used actual excerpts from from it. Man, they're so quick! Number 81. South Park was originally animated in Power Animator, but switched over to Maya at the start of Season 5. Number 82. These three all offered to do voices for the show, but were rejected. Number 83. Co-creator Trey Parker is mainly credited for writing and directing, while co-creator Matt Stone is mainly credited for production coordination and voice acting. Number 84. Mr. Hat is based off a children's book character named Hi-Hat. Hi-Hat is a puppet that teaches children the letters of the alphabet. Number 85. The music played during the closing credits is the original Primus opening song, Slowed Down. Number 86. The main boys, Cartman, Stan, Kyle, and Kenny, never showed their hair in early seasons. Over the years, however, their hair has been revealed. Number 87. One of Cartman's less common catchphrases is,
Haha, Sherrod, you are.
He says it in a British accent and is a reference to the Pink Floyd song, Pigs. 3 different ones. Number 88. In the episode Pink Eye, most of the German heard from Hitler in That Guy Hitler is nonsense. His second line, however, translates roughly to, I love your breast, dear. Number 89. Kyle does not have a single line in the episode, Butter's very own episode. Poor Kyle. Number 90. The creators of South Park were asked to write a prequel to Dumb and Dumber. They worked on it for 2 years, but ended up being too busy with South Park to complete it. Number 91. Matt Stone and Trey Parker are big Star Trek fans and try to squeeze in references whenever they can.
Thrusters are at 20%, Captain.
Number 92. The episode Jared Has AIDS has never had a rerun on Comedy Central due to all the AIDS jokes. Number 93. In the episode A Ladder to Heaven, the TV studio backgrounds are identical to the ones used in the military base in Towley. You can tell by looking at the maps on the wall. Number 94. Terrence and Phillip in
Not Without My Anus
actually aired the day Cartman's Mom Is Still a Dirty Slut was supposed to premiere. It was April Fool's Day, so the creators thought it would be funny to show the wrong episode.
And it didn't go over very well.
Most
Everyone
of America
hated it.
Comedy Central received numerous phone calls from angry viewers who had been waiting for the reveal of Cartman's father. Number 95. In Chicken Lover,
Whoa, dude, how do you have sex with a chicken?
when everyone's favorite South Park officer returns to the school, the letters on the alphabet chart say something in Spanish. It's translated to,
Oh my god, they killed Kenny! You bastards!
Number 96. When the demonic voices are singing in Demian, if you pay close attention, you can sometimes hear them say, cheesy poofs. Number 97. In their 200th 2-part episode, South Park depicted the Prophet Muhammad paving the way for a huge conflict.
Come on, people, you really think anybody's gonna be that pissed off about a cartoon?
In part 1, Muhammad is present but never shown. A group called Revolution Muslim protested and implied that the creators would be killed for their actions. As a result, Comedy Central had Muhammad's character edited in part 2 and censored all mentions of his name. Stone and Parker were very much against this.
Something that was okay is now not okay, and that's just
Number 98. With all the commotion surrounding the 200th episode, it's very interesting to note that in the 2001 episode of South Park titled Super Best Friends, they depicted Muhammad without controversy. Number 99. Parker and Stone hate the early video game adaptations of South Park. This is why they were more involved in the making of the highly rated South Park The Stick of Truth. Number 100. Yes! An elephant makes love to a pig originally had a scene where Shelly repeatedly set Stan on fire with matches before drenching him with water. Comedy Central cut it right before broadcast because they feared children would imitate the act in a similar fashion to what happened with the Beavis and Butthead controversy. If you watch the episode, this cut scene explains why there's a puddle under Stan after he's beaten up. Number 101. The creators disliked the episode Chef Goes Nanners and have admitted that it was rushed because they wanted to leave early for the holiday weekend. Number 102. The episode Pip was universally hated by all the staff that worked on it, especially Trey Parker. As a result, it isn't aired often. Number 103. Barry White was originally considered for the role of Chef, but he turned it down because he found the content offensive. Number 104. Parker and Stone are friends with Bill Hader, and he has occasionally served as a writer, producer, and voice actor for the show since its 12th season. Number 105. The animated director listed below animated several episodes in season 11 and 12. Number 106. In 1997, Comedy Central was in 9.1 million homes. By 1998, after the premiere of South Park, it was in 50 40 million homes. By 2003, it was in 82 million homes. And finally, guys, number 107, Timmy was originally going to be a one-time character, but he was so popular that the creators kept him around.
Have you ever told a story about when you were a kid and thought, man, this would make an awesome TV show? In hindsight, the things you did as a kid were pretty awesome, but in reality, they were probably pretty lame. Well, this doesn't really seem to be the case for the kids from South Park. Their lives are insane. When those kids grow up and retell their childhood antics, their stories are going to be pretty fun to listen to. Or wait, what if they're already doing that? Is the entire series of South Park actually just a bunch of adults retelling their childhood stories? This conspiracy states that all of South Park is actually just the retelling of the gang's childhood adventures as adults. Like How I Met Your Mother, but with more fart jokes. However, there are a couple different versions of this one concept. Some believe that the adult retelling these stories is an older Butters in therapy. Others believe that it's Cartman's therapy sessions as he's suffering from schizophrenia. Other versions state that it could be stories told at Cartman's funeral by another member of the gang. But we can cover the specifics of the who and where of this conspiracy later. For now, let's focus on why it could make sense that the series is told from the perspective of a reminiscing adult. Some really crazy things happen in South Park. I mean, Earth being an alien reality TV show and meeting Cthulhu, these things are just weird and crazy enough that only a kid could make them up. And if you've ever had a kid tell you a story, they're pretty confident in the validity of their tale.
I'm a cop, and you will respect my authority.
So if this is really the adult versions of these kids retelling their stories, they could be exaggerating them even more. The kids in South Park say and do a lot of things that would get the average 4th grader grounded for life. So, if it's adults recounting these tales, their mature humor and cynical viewpoint on life is probably going to bleed through. And the way that an adult would phrase things would also skew the dialogue, which explains all of the endless profanity.
No, he's talking about you can't say in school, you
Kyle! In addition, the events of South Park span over years and years, yet the characters don't age or change much. And finally, you can't talk about South Park without bringing up Kenny. The theory explains Kenny's frequent deaths in the show as the kids talking about their friend Kenny, who happened to be absent from school a lot. A darker explanation would be that Kenny died in the early years and his friends throw him into the stories as an homage to him. So could South Park actually just be the retelling of a childhood story? South Park is full of crazy twists and turns, so we can't really rule out this theory just yet. As we mentioned before, there are lots of different versions of this conspiracy, so let's take a look at which one would explain this the best. The first version being that the series is an adult Butters talking to his therapist. But how could Butters recount the stories that don't directly involve him, or even those that happened before he was introduced in the series? Well, it's possible that maybe he's just repeating these stories that the other kids told him. Butters is by far the most gullible character in the series, so of course he's going to believe all of these crazy tales that his friends are telling him.
Alright, Butters, will you go document the vampires' movement so we know what their intentions are? Really? Do you think that's best?
Well, after an understandably troubled childhood and being pulled in and out of therapy several times, it makes sense that he would ultimately end up there as an adult. But what if it was Cartman in therapy instead? Others believe that Cartman was so traumatized by his childhood that he ultimately developed schizophrenia. And he's attempting to recall his childhood memories, but they're getting mixed in with these hallucinations. And going back to Kenny,
Oh my god! They killed Kenny!
there is actually a little bit of truth in this theory. Creator Trey Parker had a childhood friend who wore the same orange parka and was difficult to hear clearly. This friend would skip school quite often, causing his friends to joke about him actually being dead. So this could be what the adult versions of the cast of South Park also did. Maybe Kenny's not really dying. Maybe he's just ditching school a lot. Honestly, this theory could make a lot of sense in several variations. The only thing I'm not buying is the narration. Unlike other flashback shows, such as How I Met Your Mother, there isn't a past tense narration. Everything in South Park seems to be happening in real time, which is why I personally don't really believe this conspiracy. So on the plausibility meter, I'm going to give the South Park conspiracy 2 Mr. Hankies out of 5.
Here are a few things that you guys said about this conspiracy. 2000 Zack Attack said, but what about the celebrity cameos in the show? They weren't famous back then. Excellent point, Zack, and yet another reason why this conspiracy comes out pretty false. Pure Awesomeness wrote, my theory about South Park is when Eric Cartman had that incident and thought he was a psychic. Well, what if he never woke up? He may be a psychic and dreaming all of this. Well, it appears there is a comatose dream theory for almost every cartoon out there. Webkins Pony 2 said, this seems interesting. I was expecting you to do the theory about how everything is in Pip's mind, but this is cool too. Like we said before, there are like a million variations of this one conspiracy, but that is actually one we did not find, so thanks for sharing. Christian Racinos wrote, I think I love getting my childhood ruined because I can't stop watching this channel. And that's Cartoon Conspiracy, ruining your childhood since 2014. If you guys have any suggestions for conspiracies you'd like us to cover, send us an email or even make a video and we might feature it. Make sure you guys join the Channel Frederator Network and subscribe to Channel Frederator, and I'll see you guys next week.
Irreverent, controversial, and always hilarious, South Park's near 2 decades on the air have left a legacy of animated antics that fans continue to obsess over. From Mecha Streisand to Singing Holiday Pooh and beyond, the series has given us a multitude of pop culture benchmarks and references that continue to delight and appall viewers in equal measure. A no-holds-barred commentary on the ever-evolving zeitgeist, South Park has always been utilized by creators Trey Parker and Matt Stone to critique, criticize, and make fun of current events and the world at large. Often, the show skews into zany, wildly inappropriate territory, and that's the reason it's endured so long. Never one to shy away from bathroom humor or crude jokes, the residents of South Park have been served up every manner of indignity known to man, all so we can get a good laugh. Though, for a show that's not afraid to go there with the naughtiness, South Park is also a series with lessons to teach. Through every madcap adventure, the creators always install a kernel of truth about the human condition, and often serve reminders that the best way to not become a parody of yourself is to be a good person. Although it seems that South Park isn't the most likely place to turn for philosophical rumination, it has, time and again, proven to provide some wonderful gems for living a better life. So put on your snow caps, because today we're going to be taking a look at some important life lessons that can be learned from Cartman and the gang. Let's go! Everything in moderation, including moderation. If the creators of South Park have a strong opinion, then it's that strong opinions tend to do more harm than good. South Park lambasts group after group by creating the logical extreme of said group. I'm willing to bet that just about everyone, myself included, has been insulted by South Park, and all of its victims are taken down by a handful of grade schoolers. And not the best or brightest grade schoolers either. And if you don't like South Park because it's so mean, that's okay. After all, hating everything is extreme. Choosing to always live in the middle is extreme as well. Parker and Stone seem intent to showcase that extremism, no matter the actual angle, is not a healthy way to live one's life. Have your beliefs, celebrate the beliefs of others, challenge your beliefs, and strive to be better. Good friends help each other. Great friends commit crimes for each other. One of the core values of the show is the importance of friendship, and few moments provided us with more insight about what it means to be a friend than the episode where Stan wanted to give Kyle a kidney. Upon learning that Kyle would need a kidney transplant to live, Stan offers to give up one of his own, only to discover that he's not a match. Depressed over the looming and inevitable loss of his friend, Stan resolves to do anything in his power to help Kyle, no matter the cost. When he discovers that Cartman can provide the match needed, Stan hatches a plan that could only be conceived in South Park. Bloody beds, midnight home invasions, and falsified medical records lead to Stan helping Kyle get the organ he needs, and their friendship is ensured to see another day. While we don't condone breaking the law or tricking anyone into giving up one of their vital organs, Stan's commitment to Kyle shows us a lot about selflessness and putting the needs of a loved one before our own. Few things hold more power than imagination, or more dangerous. In one of the series' most celebrated arcs, the boys, following a hunt to prove whether leprechauns exist, find themselves in the midst of a war of imaginary creations. Instigated by a bet between Kyle and Cartman over the complete impossibility that an imaginary character could exist in the real world, the escalating situation reveals that just because something is imaginary doesn't mean it's not real. Utilizing the storyline to lampoon many popular characters from other entertainment properties and pop culture, the heart of the Imagination Land story was about the importance of dreaming. The boys learn that just because something may be imaginary, it doesn't mean it doesn't have significance to the person who believes in it. As such, the characters and ideas we hold dear become very real and help shape who we are and how we see the world. So, if you can imagine it, then in some ways, it's real, and will take Strawberry Shortcake hostage. When Satan learned that it's okay to be alone sometimes, it seems unlikely that we'd learn anything of moral or personal value from the devil himself. But then again, parent groups the world over would tell me that South Park has no lessons to teach. Satan has the potential to provide us with a good life lesson. Longtime viewers of the show and its feature film spin-off are well aware that that Satan had a long and complicated romantic relationship with one-time Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein, a complicated relationship that led to at least one instance of near-nuclear war. Satan's association with Saddam is a definition of unhealthy, which, when it's a love affair between the devil and one of history's most wicked tyrants, we can imagine it would be anything other than problematic. Utilizing the fractured relationship to showcase a very real issue of people who feel trapped in toxic situations because they can't separate their feelings from the very dangerous reality, South Park's creators used a rather funny pairing to shine a spotlight on a very real situation that many people have struggled through. Satan pulls himself up by the bootstraps and kicks Saddam to the curb, finding a sense of peace and completion in being himself. In that moment, Satan realizes it's better to be alone than to be with someone who doesn't make you want to strive to be the best version of you. They say the devil's in the details, and in this case of self-empowerment, we couldn't agree more. That censorship isn't a replacement for talking to your kids. Censorship and complaints over content are no strangers to the creative team behind South Park. From the beginning, parent groups often cited the bathroom humor and foul language as a big negative for younger viewers and would demand Comedy Central pull the show from the air. So, when the series was given a big screen adaptation in the form of South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, the film's storyline about the censoring of a subversive television program had an air of familiarity. Attacking the notion of censorship head-on, the film shows Kyle's mom bringing about a nuclear Armageddon in an effort to take a television show she deems reprehensible off the air. In one of the movie's more prescient moments, Mrs. Broflovsky points out that it's easier to blame the television than take the blame as parents for not doing their job. Time and again, when incidents occur within communities, fingers get pointed at video games, cartoons, and film content as the blame for violent attitudes and behavior. Taking this argument into consideration, Parker and Stone use the movie to turn the finger back around at the accuser, pointing out that it's not so much the content of the art, but the dialogue that surrounds it in the home. One can see a violent movie and know that violence is reprehensible. It's more about talking things out, not hiding away from them and pretending they don't exist. With the South Park movie, the creators show us that censoring never leads to solutions, just creates more problems without means to express them. Don't get too focused on a single goal. One of the most infamous episodes of the show's first decade was one titled Make Love, Not Warcraft, which saw our favorite bus stop gang get sucked into the all-too-addicting world of online role-playing games. As the boys descended further and further down the rabbit hole of gameplay, they started to eschew real life and social situations, becoming incapable of living beyond what was happening on the screen. Furthermore, beyond inspiring online competition, the game led to real-life contention among the friends, as well as a few extra pounds on Cartman's part. As much as we, being citizens of the internet and all, hate to admit it, the boys learned that it's good to unplug and step away from our lives online and take a minute to appreciate the world and people around us. The boys lost themselves to fantasy in another episode where they got a little too into Lord of the Rings, leading to some very enlightening moments for Butters. As we mentioned earlier, the show encourages flights of fantasy and using your imagination to take you to new heights, but keeping in line with Parker and Stone's ever-present warning of not taking things to extremes, they like to remind viewers that it's okay to appreciate the real world and strive to make that better too. Confidence is a key component of success. Despite the limitations of living in a small, snowed-in town in Colorado, the gang from South Park never let the world get in the way of their dreams. In fact, for all their failings, one thing you can say about the residents of the icy little village is that they have no problem going after their dreams, which has led to international fame for the characters on the show on more than one occasion. Take, for example, the fact that the boys once created their own teen pop band, or that Randy was revealed to be the pop singer Lord. All this was achieved because they believed in themselves. South Park shows the importance of setting a goal and working to achieve it. Few characters exemplify this more than Eric Cartman, whose schemes are often heinous in nature. Remember that one time he made a kid eat his own parents? Because we're still sure having dreams about that. But almost always executed in his favor. This is because Cartman, who refuses to acknowledge or see the failings of his plans, never doubts that they can be achieved. Thanks to his convictions, Cartman has been the spokesperson for Cheesy Poofs, Bought a Theme Park, and time and again one-upped Kyle in otherwise nonsense bets. All of these successes, and occasional successful failures, poster child for Nambla episode, can be attributed to Cartman's belief in himself. Whether it's becoming a pop star or a world leader, South Park continues to show the audience that the key to achieving your dreams is confidence in your abilities to make them happen. Though, for the sake of us all, try and make sure your goals are a little more noble than Cartman's. We want to be able to sleep at night. Adults don't always have the answers. One thing consistent fans of South Park can tell you, there's not a single character on the show that gets out unscathed. Structured to mock after-school specials of yesteryear, the series format follows the adventures of Kyle, Stan, Cartman, and Kenny, and the rest of the elementary set as they discover the world and learn lessons. In similar shows, when things get dire for the children, they know they can always turn to their parents for advice and insight. However, South Park being, well, South Park, the adults are often as clueless, if not more so, than the kids. Often this leads to their own series of adventures, whether it's Kyle's mom leading a war against Canada or Randy Marsh attempting to impress Stan with his guitar. The adults of South Park often add to the general chaos of the series by often revealing that they don't know what the hell is going on most of the time. Not only does this add to the humor of the show, but it also humanizes adults in a way that most shows centered around children do not. The truth is, no one ever feels like they've grown up. Even grown-ups. By making the parents as irreverent as a kid, South Park reminds us that sometimes adults don't have all the answers and are just trying to get by, just like everybody else. Even if this does mean Randy gets into fistfights with other people's dads. Often. You can find humor in anything, and you should. Perhaps the ultimate lesson that can be learned from South Park is the most obvious one. Take nothing too seriously. Just as Parker and Stone were able to use the movie to laugh at their own issues with censorship, the show reminds us that overall, it's important to take the time and laugh at yourself on occasion. Nothing is too serious that it doesn't deserve a good, humorous roast from time to time, because often in humor, we also find essential truths. Life is short, just ask Kenny. So, we might as well have a good laugh.
Let's face it, South Park isn't really known for its, realism. But the world of South Park is absurd by design. Space aliens can kidnap 4th graders, pop divas can become robotic kaiju monsters, and someone's dad can secretly be Lord. Yet, no matter how outrageous the show can get, and remember, this is the show with the singing Christmas poo, South Park's shenanigans boil down to one of the most memorable casts from the past decade or so. And no matter how crazy things get, there's still a little bit of each of us in South Park. Somewhere.
What the hell is going on?
I'm Kirsten with ChannelFrederator, and today we're asking one of life's most important questions. Which South Park character are you? Ready to find out which character you most identify with? Let's get started. Stan Marsh. Do you often find yourself being the voice of reason? Are you a caring and dedicated friend and/or sibling? Are you generally affable with a strong moral compass and inclination to do what's right and stand up for the little guy? Are you more or less normal? Congratulations, you might be like Stan. An average 4th grader in a not-so-average town, Stan Marsh is the closest thing to a leader the group of South Park boys have, even if Cartman might disagree. You, as Stan, will go the extra mile to help out those who are important to you, but also have the ability to see things a little more objectively than your peers. That being said, you're not immune to hijinks every now and then. Even the straight man in the show isn't totally straight.
Stan Marsh. Stan Darsh is more like it.
Kyle Broflovsky, are you smart and compassionate? So stubborn that you constantly end up butting heads with other people? Are you the moral center of your group and still have hope that the world is a salvageable place? And that somewhere, deep down, people are good? If so, you're probably like Kyle Broflovsky. Along with Stan, Kyle tends to be the voice of reason on the show. Like Stan, he frequently comes to the defense of the less fortunate, but unlike Stan, Kyle doesn't like to back down when he's convinced he's right. He'll go to great lengths to prove his case, which often leads him into some pretty absurd situations. Or, at the very least, a bet with Cartman. But those two are often the same thing. Eric Cartman. Are you a horrible person? Are you arrogant and confident to almost a superhuman degree? Are you constantly up in arms about some cause or another, usually for manipulative reasons? Then you're like Cartman, and we probably shouldn't be friends. On the upside, Eric Cartman is basically a poster child for what's possible when you believe in yourself, and he certainly would love to literally be a poster child. Unfortunately, Cartman uses that confidence for selfish gain and really couldn't care less about the feelings of others. But he's a real artiste when it comes to manipulation and deceit, which often makes it just about impossible for him not to get what he wants. Kenny McCormick. Are you constantly dying? Do you feel like you are the very image of perseverance, so much so that you constantly cheat death itself? Do you suffer from severe sailor mouth, but do few people understand you? Like, literally understand what you're saying? Then, oh my god! You're like Kenny! Kenny McCormick actually has quite a foul mouth, but it's really hard to tell with that parka. He's very amused by toilet humor and has an impressively high ceiling for doing disgusting dares, especially when there's money involved. That being said, you as Kenny definitely have a moral compass when it matters, and can be selfless to the point where you will literally die for a cause. Like, literally. Wendy Testerberger. Are you politically aware and involved in social justice campaigns? Then breathe a sigh of relief because you're like Wendy Testerberger. Wendy is well liked and respected by her peers, but has never been afraid to go against the grain and do what she thinks is right, even if it flies in the face of what everyone else thinks. She's understanding of people's biz to a point, and then she will put you in your place, and even dole out a good beating if people are asking for it, which they usually are. Butterscotch. Are you the butt of your friends' jokes? Are you effervescent, innocent, and way more naive than is frankly permissible at this point in time? Is your attitude G-rated? These are the traits of a true Butters. Butters Stotch has an impressive imagination and isn't afraid to let it run wild every now and then. He's a complete anomaly among his peers. Not that he really notices. He's just doing his own thing because he doesn't know how not to. Which means you, as Butters, may have trouble fitting in and may feel melancholy about not belonging from time to time, but don't even sweat. We all need our Butterses. Randy Marsh. Prone to spurts of intense obsession? Are you incredibly passionate, but can that passion drive you to act impulsively and immaturely? If you're willing to admit that you're not always the brightest bulb in the shed, you may be like Randy Marsh. Randy has all the confidence and conviction in the world, but comes from a naive and usually well-meaning place. Although Randy is certainly known to act out of selfish reasons. His intense passion about causes and fads is commendable, but it's easy for that passion to overpower him, sometimes driving him into violence. If you're like Randy, you may also be a little too fond of the bottle, so be careful with that, please. Mr. Garrison, are you having trouble confronting some difficult psychological conundrums to the point where you may offset those aspects of your personality onto, say, a puppet? Do you have a suppressed aggressive streak? Do you tend to act out in extremes, regardless of whether you're in denial or finally in the throes of long-awaited acceptance? Then you're like Mr. Garrison, or Mrs. Garrison, depending on your season. Mr. Garrison's certainly been through a lot, so we're here for you if you need to talk. On the bright side, you tend to confront whatever you're suppressing eventually, and then, oh boy, do you act on it. But you're being true to yourself, and you'd make Mr. Hat proud. Probably. Thanks for watching Tuned Up's Which South Park character are you? So, which character do you most identify with? South Park is a pretty huge small town, and there's no way we could have gotten to all its residents today. Is there a South Park character that you feel represents you far better than the ones we discussed? Tell us in the comments below. And if you liked what you just saw, then check out some of these other videos by clicking the annotations or links in the description. And be sure to subscribe to ChannelFrederator so you don't miss out on any of our videos. Because remember, Frederator loves you.